No losses, I don't do lipo. A few screws loose in the head, I'm a psycho. Promise you the bar, just as real as the bite though. Misunderstood, you could call me a typo. I shine hotter than the stars in the night though. Hate the who's, don't give me a title. Flipped in asset, so I don't worry the price though. Got scratched like mine, no, leave it to the tribal.
Boom, I'm like a bomb in a room. Blow up the spot, everybody gotta move. Life or death, everybody gotta choose. Life or death, not everybody gotta lose. I hear the talking, I just keep quiet. Learn to speak silent, don't yearn for violence. Popping like a man.
Be careful not to get too close, I might just go.
Welcome back to day 3 of the largest online advertising event of the year. Welcome back to Ad World. It's actually sad it's the last day. But then again, we still have over 40 amazing speakers lined up just today. These include absolutely amazing guys like Sir Martin Sorrell, Lanya Zambrano, or Ollie Gardner. So I know that you will love the content, but also please make sure to use the directory today. Make sure you connect with people here at Ad World. There's so much value in the connections, and I want you to keep those, not just for today, but for your future. So, without further ado, please welcome our speakers and enjoy day 3 of Ad World.
Next up is Valentine from Later. In her talk, she's teaching you 3 crucial elements of a high-converting competitor comparison landing page. Valentine, the stage is yours.
A few weeks ago, I've decided to buy a new keyboard for my laptop. And of course, I spent a few hours online trying to compare the different brands, the different products, and the different prices. It was quite a journey, to be honest. Well, guess what? I'm not the only one. Actually, 81% of shoppers do research online before buying a product or a service. 81%. That's quite a lot. So, knowing that information, how can we as a brand and a business differentiate ourselves? My secret? Well, my secret is to use competitor comparison landing pages. My name is Valentine, and I'm the paid acquisition strategist at Later, a social media marketing platform. I was born in France, as you might hear it, but I do live in Vancouver, Canada now. I am a trilingual marketer with over 5 years of experience, both in-house and in digital marketing agencies, and I've been mainly working within the SaaS and the e-commerce industries. I'm also a digital marketing instructor at BrandStation. And I'm very excited to be with you today to share all my tips and advice about competitor comparison landing pages. So today, in my talk, I will show you first why you shouldn't be afraid of competitor comparison landing pages. Then I will show you how you can build high-converting competitor comparison landing pages. And finally, I will show you how you can leverage your competitor comparison landing pages with your paid ads. All right, let's get started. You might be surprised, but in 2021, there are still quite a lot of companies that don't want to use competitor comparison landing pages. They're really trying to avoid them. Why? Because they're afraid of them. So why are we still afraid of competitor comparison landing pages? Here are some of the most common answers you might hear. We don't want to validate our competitors. Well, I'm sorry, but competition is everywhere, and there is literally nothing you can do to prevent your users from checking your competitor website. It's going to happen. We don't want to hurt our brand. I totally get it. However, if it's well done, competitor comparison landing page is a great way to build your brand authority. We don't want to upset anyone. Well, you don't have to. competitor comparison landing page wasn't built with the intent of being mean, rude, or aggressive. Not at all. It's actually quite the opposite. So please, just stop being afraid of competitor comparison landing page and instead just embrace it. There are so many benefits to a competitor comparison landing page. A competitor comparison landing page will help you to lower your churn rate. Why? Well, because the users have already checked your competitor comparison page and they already have all the information they were looking for. They know the main difference between you and your competitor. There is no more surprise. And because you've shared so much information with the users, this is going to help also to support your onboarding process. Finally, you can also create some great remarketing list based on which competitor comparison landing pages users have visited, and you can try to re-engage with them later on. All right, now we're not afraid about our competitor comparison landing page anymore. What do we do next? How do we build high converting competitor comparison landing pages? Well, based on my experience, I would recommend to take into consideration 3 principles: respect, educate, and trust. Let's start with respect. Do not try to tear your competitors down. Instead, use this opportunity as a way to showcase your main benefits and your competitive advantage. Here's an example of a competitor comparison landing page we've built later. Well, right away, you can see that we're mentioning that we're more user-friendly and a less expensive alternative. Also, we're making sure to answer the main question from the user. So what's the actual difference between you and your competitor? Why should I pick you or not? Let's have a look at another example here. In this example from Intercom, you can see that they're following quite a similar approach. They're making sure first to explain that they will deliver a better customer experience. And then they're making sure to address the main question of the users. Are you looking for some alternatives? If so, here are a few reasons to pick us. Let's talk about educate. You have to keep in mind that the users have a lot of questions. It is possible they're a little bit lost in the decision-making process, so they're really looking for answers. You can help them here. A great way to educate and help users is by creating some comparison table, also called comparison chart. Here's an example of one comparison table we've built later. In my opinion, a comparison table would be efficient and effective if it's easy and quick to read through. In that example, you can see that we've decided to use a positive icon to showcase our main benefits. We've used a check icon for us, and we've used a cross for our competitor. Not only are we using a positive icon, but we're also using a positive color, green in that example. And we're using red for our competitor. Another option for a positive color could be yellow, for example. Something that is really important about your comparison table is that everything that you're stating on your comparison table should be accurate. As such, you might need to run some competitive intelligence and keep in mind to refresh your competitor comparison landing page pretty often. Another way to add more transparency and information to your comparison table is to add the date of the last time that you've updated your comparison table. Let's have a look at another example here. In that case, you can see that Mixpanel has built a comparison chart between them and Amplitude. Right away, you can see that the comparison table is really easy and quick to read through. They've also decided to use a positive color as well as a positive icon. And finally, even though the comparison table is quite short here, they're making sure to give the option to see the full comparison chart to the users. So not only the comparison chart here is accurate, but it's highly complete. Let's talk about trust now. As I've mentioned earlier, competitor comparison landing page is a great way to build your brand authority. And there is nothing better to build your brand authority than leveraging your own customer success stories. Here is another example of a competitor comparison landing page we've built at Later. You can see that we've decided to share a review from one of our clients, Lush. It's easy to find out because we've used the logo of the brand as well as the brand name, and we've also added a visual of their products. Finally, we've also made sure to use the name and the job title of the person that left the review. This helps to add a little bit more authenticity to the review. So if you have any reviews or testimonials, make sure to make the most of them and make sure to share them on your website. Of course, you need to ask for the permission first. Another good tip to build your brand authority is by sharing some powerful numbers or facts. Here, in just a few seconds, you understand that over 4 million of businesses have decided to use the product. As such, you're telling the user that they could be the next one. Let's go back to an example from Intercom. Once again, you can see here that we're following quite a similar approach. Here, they're showcasing the different brands that have been working with them. And they're making sure to tell the user that they shouldn't take their words for it, but they should actually check the reviews from the clients themselves. They're also making sure to share some powerful numbers here. They're pretty big, and they've made sure to use a color to add a little bit contrast to it, so it's way more visible. All right, now that we're not afraid about our competitor comparison page anymore, and we've done our homework, we've built some beautiful and high converting competitor comparison landing page, what do we do next? How do we get additional traffic on those pages? How do you leverage your competitor comparison pages with your paid ads? Well, in order to do so and to run a successful conquesting PPC campaign, I would recommend to pay attention to 3 elements. First, your keywords. Then you add copy. And finally, you add extensions. All right, let's start with keywords. You shouldn't be bidding on your competitor brand name alone. Why? Well, first, it's gonna be extremely expensive for you, and it's not gonna be very efficient in terms of results. Instead, bid on exploring other options. So what do I mean by exploring other options? Here are some examples. In my case, I might want to consider bidding on some similar to type of keywords with our competitor brand name. Or I might do a comparison, our competitor number 1 versus our competitor number 2. Or I could also bid on our competitor brand name with some alternatives type of keywords. So let's have a look at a real example here. Here you can see that if somebody was looking for an alternative to Hootsuite, they will see an ad from Later showing up stating that Later is the best alternative. If we look at another example, here in that case, somebody is looking for a similar tool to Amplitude, you can see an ad from Mixpanel showing up stating that they are the best Amplitude alternative. While it is really important to bid on exploring other options type of keywords, you also need to make sure that you're excluding any irrelevant keywords. So what do I mean by irrelevant keywords? Well, in our case, we don't want our ad to show up if somebody is looking for a way to log into our competitor platform, for example. Or if somebody is looking for additional information about the customer service of our competitor. Or finally, if somebody is looking for a way to reset the password on our competitor platform. We want to make sure to exclude those keywords because they're not going to bring us high qualified users. In order to do so, you can easily create some negative keyword list. And what I like to do personally is to create my list based on some categories. So if we follow the same examples as previously, here I might want to create a list for any logging type of keywords, another list for any customer service related keywords, and finally another one for anything related to reset password. Make sure to add your negative list at the ad group level in your campaign. Also, it is really important to keep an eye on your search terms to make sure that if you're seeing any irrelevant keywords, then you can also exclude them and keep the momentum going on. All right, now that we've talked about keywords, let's talk about ad copy. You probably already know that, but ad copies are extremely important. They're the main part of your ad. As a matter of fact, you should always connect your ad copy with your landing page. You shouldn't be making any wild claims if you're not able to back it up with your landing page. In that case, the headline 1 is stating later versus buffer. As a user, I do expect to see a comparison between that brand and the other one. If we click on that ad, you will see that we're going to be directed to competitor comparison landing page between later and buffer. If we look at the example from Mixpanel now, in the headline 1, they're stating that they are the best amplitude alternative. As a user, my expectation, again, is to see a comparison between Mixpanel and Amplitude and making sure they explain to me why they are a best alternative. Once again, in that case, when you click on the ad, you're going to be directed to competitor comparison page between Mixpanel and Amplitude. Make sure to use captivating ad copy. Here's your chance to really stand out from the crowd, so just make the most of it. In your headline 2, you might want to create some interest and tell the user what they're actually missing out. Or, in that example, you might want to use the headline 2 as a way to explain your added value. In that case, thanks to Mixpanel, you will get access to deeper analytics. All right, now that we've talked about our keywords and our ad copies, let's talk a little bit about ad extensions. Ad extensions are often overlooked, yet they are a powerful tool to provide additional information to the users. In that case, you can see that we've decided to use some site links extensions. In our first site link extension, we're taking the opportunity here to share additional information about the pricing. Why? Well, because we believe that if the user is interested in our product or service, the next step will be to know how much it will cost. We're also making sure that we're reiterating the fact that a user can create a free account and that it's very easy and quick to do it. And finally, we're using our last 2 site links extension as a way to promote our other features. In that case, we want to promote our Instagram hashtag tool, and then we're also making sure to share more information about our analytics tool. There are quite a lot of ad extensions. As such, I would recommend for you to check the list and see which one will be the best for your goals and your objectives. Let's go over a few more examples here. You might want to consider, for example, a callout extension. So if you're offering some free delivery or if your customer service is available 24 hours, for example, that's the type of information that you want to provide and share with the users within your ads. You might also want to take into consideration the lead form extension. It's a great way to collect lead information if you want to share maybe later on an ebook or invite the users to a demo or even a webinar, for example. And finally, if you have an app, you might want to consider the app extension to encourage people to download your app and to start using it. So make sure to review the different extensions and see which one will fit better with your goals and your objectives. All right, let's take a few minutes to recap everything we've learned today. First, you should acknowledge your competitors. It is really important. Once you've done that, then you can start working on building high converting competitor comparison link pages. Don't be afraid to check what others are doing to get some new ideas or just a little bit of inspiration. Finally, when your competitors' comparison link pages are ready, make sure to leverage them with your paid ads. If you do all that, then you will be able to set yourself apart from the competition with no shade. Thank you very much for listening. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you have any question about the talk. I would be more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much. Bye.